Hello again, everybody, and I hope you have a great Halloween if you celebrate it, and if you celebrate some other holiday on this day, on the day, then I hope you enjoy it. Otherwise, hope you're having a good day. For I am your host, Joe JDF Foster, and today I am reviewing the film 1031, which is fitting. Now, this film came now before I get into the review. Um, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and leave what you'd like for me to do for an upcoming video. Where I will give you credit. I will credit at least your YouTube account if I know your name, so I can send it and so I can know who it is. Now, this film 1031 came out in 2017, and since again it's an anthology, as a number of my films have been this month, I'm not going to list the cast members. I'm going to just go straight through. The plot of this film is an anthology of films surrounding Halloween, hosted on a TV show by Malvolia, the Queen of Scream, where you've got little children while watching five different stories told from five different writers while eating their Halloween candy. Now, the episodes or stories in this, I am going to discuss somewhat, so be prepared for spoilers. First episode, The Old Hag. Two men are hired to shoot a commercial for a bed and breakfast, but find out there is a legend known as the Old Hag surrounding the place. As they continue to shoot the commercial, they come to find out the legend is more than a legend. They find out that it's more than just a myth. The thing about this one is that it makes me question whether the men were actually seeing what they saw, or if exhaustion brought on a condition known as sleep paralysis. Many of you, if you've seen the Nightmare on Elm Street series, will remember this condition, as it's what Wes Craven actually looked at for the Nightmare on Elm Street series, for how the people would die. Their bodies would give out and they wouldn't be able to move, but they'd be awake. So they could hallucinate and die at the same time. Now, Wes Craven has admitted that he also took the story from clippings of immigrants who came from countries that were very violent at the time, and these children were having nightmares and were refusing to sleep and would drink coffee and things. Basically, the same things you see Nancy doing in the first film, a lot of it, that Nancy did, these children were doing in order to stay awake and avoid going to sleep, because it meant they didn't have to have the nightmares. And they wouldn't see this. And some of them even described the same creature before they would kill themselves, which is tragic that they would. And Wes happened to catch on to these clippings through that, which led him to create a character based on the idea of killing in dreams. And then sleep paralysis came with it. But now, sorry I got so far off on that. Back to the movie. Second second story in our anthology, the Scarecrow, as I call it, or Trespassers. A new kid in town is on a date with this girl, and after a bad movie, they're trying to decide what to do. The girl comes up with a suggestion. They end up going to a house known as a murder house. For those of you that don't know, a murder house is a place like Amityville or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre where a person, it's pretty much self explanatory, but sometimes a murder house is a legend where a person went crazy and killed a lot more people than they actually did. Such as in the case of, I want to say it's a house out in Texas or Arizona. I'm not sure on that. That there was supposedly 100 bodies buried there, when in fact, when when the cops came and got them, there were only two, because the man had killed his family in a massive delusion. But anyways, again, back to this story. When the kids go to the murder house, the boy asks about it, and the girl tells him about how the family went through what they did. And it came to be the murder house that it did. But that also, that the residents that lived there before them had been chased off and placed, and had cursed the land until that family got their land back. Well, the following year, when the murder house came along, there was a scarecrow suddenly appeared. Family caught a mysterious illness, and it's what happened to them. And then the murder house happened. Well, when this happens, it turns out they find out what actually caused, what this mysterious illness is, and the way to cure it. Or at least the way to work around it. Check it out. And this story I actually really enjoyed. The Old Hag was alright, but Scarecrow Trespassers, that one was enjoyable for how it was done. Because it didn't throw out a lot of blood. It didn't throw out a big mess. It just threw out a jump scare here and there and made sense in how it worked the story. Number 3 in the stories, Killing the Dance. A girl working on Halloween at a roller rink has to take her brother with her, and this is a year after their fathers left them. Well, while working, trouble strikes when a killer goes around the rink killing people. This one wasn't all that great in my view, but it wasn't completely terrible. It had a moment or two of goodness, though it becomes more predictable than the other stories. Number 4, The Blizzard of 1991. Or The Blizzard of 91 is how it phrases it, so I'm guessing they meant 1991. This one becomes a battle of the holidays as Santa makes an early arrival when two kids argue over which holiday is better. Christmas, where you get presents, or Halloween, where you get candy. And, well, it gets interesting not because of the actual battle, but because of the way the story gets everybody involved in it eventually. And it has characters besides Santa involved as well. And the fact that instead of like Halloween or something else where teenagers and adults are the main stars, in this one, it's children that are actually the main stars of the story. Okay, now this last one I may mispronounce because I know it's a holiday name, but I've heard it pronounced 3 different ways. And I'm not sure exactly which way is correct. The third one is entitled The Samhain Slasher. I've heard it also pronounced as Samhain, and there's another version I've heard, but it just sounded completely wrong. But I'm pretty sure in the movie they call it the Samhain Slasher. And this one, the best way I knew to summarize it was what happens if a recently escaped serial killer isn't the worst thing to walk Halloween night when the children are out trick or treating and having parties. This one got interesting to me. It wasn't like really interesting, but it's one of those more psychological than it was actual trying to scare you. But it had its moments of horror in it. Okay, another note that I had that I didn't mention earlier, well, 2 notes actually. Our hostess in this movie, to me, was a parody. I mean, seems like a parody of Elvira when you look at her. Almost perfectly resembles the Elvira Mistress of the Dark look. Her job, even, is the same idea. She introduces the horror movie or whatever movie that you're going to watch. The other note that I had on this is that during the stories, you can see Night of the Living Dead, the original version, the black and white, and the Friday the 13th. I'm pretty sure it's the original one of it, too. If not, then it might be the second one. It might be Friday the 13th Part 2. But I'm pretty sure it's Night of the Living Dead original version and Friday the 13th, the original version. Not the one that they remade with the guy from Supernatural. Okay, now for my final notes. My final notes on this, the good about it, it had a good runtime. And the stories, they keep you interested, though they may not be great. The bad of it, the fact that there were only 5 stories, which is a maybe on that. Because, like I said, some of them were very interesting, and some of them just kept you there with the interest. And my recommendation, this one you could watch even when it wasn't near Halloween. My grade for it, a B plus. And now I wish you all a happy Halloween and happy holidays and just a good day in general. Otherwise, I will see you at the next video.